She said she was in Phoenix for a conference. But I found a hotel key in her coat pocket from San Diego. Same weekend, different city, different man.
I'm Richard Monroe.
62 years old. Retired Navy, now working part-time as a warehouse supervisor in Dallas, Texas. Solid income, good benefits, mortgage-free. I've built the kind of quiet, stable life most men work decades to earn. I'm not flashy. I don't post on social media. I keep my circle tight. I believe in hard work, long walks, and loyalty. The old kind. The kind that means something. My wife, Vanessa, is 46. She works in pharmaceutical sales, big money, big miles. She's sharp, beautiful, always polished, always moving. We've been married 11 years. People used to say I was lucky to have her. For a while, I believed that too. She started traveling more this past year. New territories, more conferences, more nights alone at home. At first, I didn't question it. She was ambitious, successful. I admired that. But lately, things felt off. The rushed showers when she got home. The perfume already on before she left. The way she guarded her phone like it was loaded. Still, I didn't push. Until that Sunday night. She was in Phoenix, at a training event. She came back tired, complaining about airline delays. I helped her unpack, hung up her coat, and that's when I felt it. Tucked into the inside pocket. A hotel keycard. Marriott, San Diego. Room 314. The tag was still on it. My heart didn't race. My voice didn't crack. I just stared at it for a long time. She was in San Diego, not Phoenix. That was all I needed.
No accusations.
No fight. I smiled, kissed her on the forehead. And the next morning, I started my own investigation. Because if she wanted to treat this like a game, she was about to find out who she married. I didn't confront her. Not when I found the keycard. Not that night. Not the next morning when she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Thanks for holding down the fort." I simply said, "Of course." Because see,
I've worn a uniform.
I've served on ships where you don't survive if you act on impulse. You study. You watch. You wait. This wasn't rage. This was reconnaissance. Monday morning, I started with something simple. I called the Marriott in San Diego. Told them I'd left something behind in room 314 last week, and asked if they could check. I pretended to fumble the dates. Acted confused. Friendly. The woman on the phone was polite and helpful. That room was occupied Friday to Sunday. Yes, it was checked out under a Vanessa Monroe. Boom. No hesitation in her voice. She even confirmed the stay was booked under a corporate discount. Not the company my wife said she worked for. Different account. Different company. That's when the picture started to shift. Vanessa wasn't just lying about the city. She was lying about the entire trip. I kept going. Next step, her car. She drives a company SUV. She always parks it in the garage and locks it. Nothing unusual. Except this time, I installed a magnetic GPS tracker under the wheel well. A little device my buddy from the Navy helped me set up a year ago when his daughter was dating a man he didn't trust. It runs off an app.
No monthly subscription.
Just a clean, quiet breadcrumb trail. I pulled her car data from the last 30 days. Her last 3 Phoenix trips? All San Diego. Every one. Different hotels. All in the same downtown area. That's not business. That's a pattern. Then came the financials. Vanessa and I keep separate accounts. It was always her idea. It's just cleaner for taxes, she used to say. But we had a shared credit card for household expenses. I logged into the dashboard and pulled statements from the last 6 months. Most were normal. But one vendor caught my eye. Pine Oak Consulting. $2,500. Repeated every month. Never flagged. Why? Because she paid it using manual bank transfers, not the credit card. But the account was connected to our shared checking. I dug deeper. Turns out Pine Oak wasn't a consulting firm. It was a family trust management service. The kind that helps prepare long-term asset transfers in the event of unexpected marital events. In plain English, they help you separate retirement money without your spouse knowing. Now I knew. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning her exit, trying to protect her new life before destroying mine. But she made one mistake. She never imagined I'd quietly follow the trail. She thought I was just some small-town husband, too trusting, too simple. She didn't know that I check everything. That night, I watched her scroll on her phone as we sat on the couch. She laughed at something, showed me a meme, acted like she was still my wife, and I smiled back like I still believed it. But in my mind, I was already writing the script to her downfall, because I wasn't just going to divorce her. I was going to expose her, in court, to her job, to her family, to the man she thought was her secret. They were all about to see the woman behind the blowout hair and fake smile. And I wouldn't raise my voice once. I didn't eat much that week. Not because I was angry, anger's easy. This wasn't that. This was something colder, something deeper, like watching termites crawl out of the wood you thought was solid oak. Vanessa came home late Tuesday, said her meeting in Houston ran long. I didn't say a word. I poured her wine, rubbed her shoulders, played the role of the tired but loving husband who had no clue his life was being gutted from the inside. But after she fell asleep, I got to work. I knew the hotel, the room, the dates. All I needed was a name, and I found it. The hotel receptionist had been too helpful during my earlier call, so I called again. Different voice, different tone. Hi, I'm trying to confirm a business associate who stayed with us last weekend. Vanessa Monroe. She mentioned a guest was added to the room under her reservation. Could you verify the name on file? Just cross-checking expenses. The man on the other end hesitated. Let me check. Yes, there was an additional guest listed. Raymond Callahan. Raymond. That name hit me like ice water down the back. I knew a Ray Callahan. Retired lieutenant colonel. Mid-50s. Good shape. Big smile. Worked in private security now. Vanessa had met him during a corporate event last year. I remember shaking his hand. He said I had a strong grip. I said something about Navy versus Army. We both laughed. He was friendly. Too friendly. Back then, I didn't think anything of it. But now, everything made sense. The sudden networking trips. The random security firm flyers Vanessa left in the office. The inside jokes she never explained. I looked him up online. His LinkedIn was clean. But I found something better. His Instagram. Private, but his profile photo showed him at a rooftop bar in San Diego. Same date as her Phoenix trip. He posted it the day after with a caption. Love where life takes you. And the location tag? Marriott, downtown San Diego. I wasn't done. I called a friend of mine from the service, Frank. He owed me a favor. Frank had access to background check tools I wasn't supposed to know existed. He ran Callahan through the system. Came back with 3 red flags. History of inappropriate conduct during a previous military posting. 2 civil complaints dismissed quietly. Known for private security contracts that don't always involve security. Frank added, the guy's slick, but dirty. Your wife's not the first woman tied to him. That sealed it. Vanessa wasn't just sleeping with Ray. She was being led by him, used by him, and maybe, just maybe, helping him get something more than sex. Money? Access? Control? I didn't know yet, but I would. The next day, I called my attorney. How do I freeze joint assets without tipping her off? Ben's a bulldog.
Ex-marine.
No patience for liars. He walked me through the process. Quiet. Legal. No red flags. We froze joint cards. Redirected retirement statements to a new address. And, this was the big one, filed a temporary protection motion on my military pension, citing suspected financial manipulation. Ben didn't ask for proof. He knew my voice, and I sounded like a man ready to go to war. That night, I sat across from Vanessa at dinner. She laughed about someone at work. I smiled. She reached for my hand, and I held it, because what she didn't know was that in 48 hours, I'd be sitting in a hotel room of my own. In San Diego. Same street. Same hotel. Different mission. And this time I'd be the one watching. Friday afternoon I packed a small bag. told Vanessa I was heading to Houston for the weekend to visit an old Navy buddy who was recovering from surgery. She didn't ask many questions. Just gave me a kiss and told me to have fun with the old guys. I smiled, because while she thought I was halfway to Houston, I was checking into the Marriott in San Diego, 4 floors below the same room she'd stayed in with Ray Callahan. Room 314. Different reservation, different card, under a different name. I walked past the front desk in a baseball cap and sunglasses. Didn't make eye contact. The hotel smelled of expensive soap and betrayal. I spent hours that evening in the bar across the street. Waiting. Watching. I knew her schedule now. She always arrived late, between 9 o'clock and 9:30. Hair done. Travel bag light.
No laptop. No briefcase.
Because she wasn't here for business. She was here for him. At 9:22 p.m., I saw her. Red coat. Heels. Same rolling suitcase she always brought to conferences. She stepped out of a black rideshare, looking around quickly, not like someone who's confident, but like someone who's hiding. She walked into the hotel like she'd done it 100 times.
No hesitación.
3 minutes later, I saw him. Ray Callahan. Larger than life.
Tan.
Sunglasses at night. Carried himself like a man who never earned anything the hard way. He didn't check in. He just followed her to the elevators. Like this wasn't an affair. It was routine. The next hour I sat in silence. Didn't drink. Didn't blink. I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. I had bigger plans. I went to the front desk, showed my room key, and told the concierge I'd left my laptop charger in room 314 a few weeks ago. Asked if anyone had turned it in. The clerk checked the computer, shook his head. No, sir, but I can give you access for a minute to double-check. If you recognize the room. I smiled. I'm pretty sure it was 314. He printed a backup keycard. Just like that, I had access to their room. I didn't go in immediately. I waited until the morning. 6:20 a.m. Sun barely up. Hotel quiet. Elevators empty. I walked down the hallway with calm, deliberate steps. Listened at the door. Silence. I slipped the keycard in. Light turned green. I opened it 1 inch. They were both asleep. Vanessa faced the window, back exposed. Ray sprawled beside her like he belonged. I didn't take a photo. I didn't move. I just looked around the room and confirmed what I needed. 1 toothbrush. 1 overnight bag. 2 lives wrapped in 1 lie. I backed out, shut the door without a sound. That afternoon, I drove to a private investigator I'd hired back in Dallas. Handed him a flash drive with dates, hotel names, license plate photos, receipts. Told him I wanted everything on Vanessa and Ray. Communications, financial transfers, professional overlap, any shared property, digital accounts, or suspicious filings. I'm not just leaving her, I said. I'm taking her down with paperwork. He nodded. I want her disbarred from our accounts. I want him flagged by anyone he's ever worked for. And I want to freeze her before she knows what's coming. The investigator smiled. You've done half my job already. That night, Vanessa texted me. Hope your weekend's going well. Babe Redheart, tell Steve I said hi. Steve doesn't exist. But her lies? They're very real. She thought she was the only one playing the long game. She has no idea. I'm already 5 moves ahead. By Monday morning, everything was in motion. My attorney, Ben, had filed the necessary paperwork for financial separation under suspected spousal fraud. That meant her access to our joint accounts was frozen. Any withdrawal over $500 would trigger a legal alert. My pension was shielded, pending review. All done quietly. No red flags. No emails to her inbox. She wouldn't know until her next hair appointment card got declined. Meanwhile, the PI Tom was delivering results fast. He found something I didn't expect. Vanessa and Ray had a shared digital wallet. Crypto-based, untraceable to most, used for discrete transfers. Ray had sent her over $18,000 in the last year, all labeled consulting fees from his private firm. But Vanessa doesn't consult. She sells pharmaceuticals. At least, That's what she told me. Turns out she hadn't worked a single account in over 6 months. She was listed as inactive in her company's database, still cashing in company mileage and food reimbursements, all while networking in hotels with Ray. They weren't just lovers. They were running a scheme, a fake business partnership built on my money, my house, and my name. But here's the best part. Vanessa had unknowingly forwarded a few tax documents to our shared drive last year and never deleted them. Inside one PDF, a scanned signature authorization giving Ray temporary asset management authority in case of Vanessa's medical incapacity. It was a draft, not notarized, not filed, but it was a glimpse into what they were planning. Ray was positioning himself to access my wife's assets I built, under the guise of care. That night, I did what any loyal husband would do. I sent an anonymous email to Vanessa's employer. Attached were screenshots of her crypto activity, her hotel stays during sick days, a polite note, thought you should be aware of what your sales lead has been doing on company time. Best of luck with compliance. I didn't hear back, but Vanessa came home the next day in a storm, slamming cabinets, huffing under her breath, walking around like a woman on the edge of panic. Have you been messing with the bank? My card didn't work today. Then my company login just locked me out. I looked up from the paper. Did you call tech support? She froze. Her eyes searched mine, looking for cracks, for guilt, for any sign that I was onto her. She found nothing. Maybe, she said slowly, it's just a glitch. Could be, I said. Strange timing, though. She nodded but said nothing else. Went upstairs, closed the door, but I heard her pacing, whispering into her phone. She wasn't sure yet, not completely, and that was exactly where I wanted her. The next morning, her phone rang. She answered on speaker by mistake. Hi, Vanessa. This is Beth from HR. We're going to need to schedule a review call regarding your expense reports and recent travel logs. This is not a formal disciplinary hearing. Yet. She turned pale. I kept sipping my coffee. Everything okay? I asked. She smiled, fake as ever. Just a quick work thing. Nothing big. She went upstairs to take the call in private. I stayed downstairs, grinning, because she thought her life was still salvageable. She didn't realize she's already lost. Sunday night, 7:26 p.m. Vanessa walked into the restaurant like nothing in her life was falling apart. Hair perfect, lips red, heels sharp. She spotted me across the room and smiled. Not nervously, but like she still believed the show was hers to direct. I stood to greet her, kissed her cheek. She smelled like vanilla and lies. This place is beautiful, she said, brushing off her coat. You always surprise me. I didn't respond. I just pulled out her chair and sat. Because this wasn't dinner. This was an execution. We ordered drinks. She talked. Mostly small talk. Her boss being weird. Her company tightening up policies. How maybe we should take that trip to Denver. I nodded. Let her run her mouth. She didn't notice that I wasn't eating. Didn't notice that I wasn't smiling. And then, when the waiter brought out our steaks, I reached into my jacket, pulled out a plain white envelope. I set it between us, sliding it across the table, slow and silent. She stared at it. What's this? Her voice had a tremble just under the surface. Open it. She hesitated, then tore the flap, pulled out the first document. Her hands stopped moving. First page, marital fraud complaint. Filed in Texas court. Her name, Ray Callahan's name, co-conspirator status, asset freeze, financial surveillance. She blinked, lips parted. I could see the blood draining from her face. Then she flipped to the next page. Crypto transfer records, the shared wallet, the amounts, the dates. Then the draft power of attorney. Her digital signature, Ray's name typed in block letters. The one she thought she'd deleted. Her hands started to shake. Where did you get this? She whispered. I didn't answer. I let her keep going. Next was a printed screenshot of her inbox. A conversation between her and Ray. We'll move slow. He's too trusting to notice. Once the pension is in motion, we cut ties and get clear. I watched her read her own words. Then came the final page. The photo. Her in the red coat. Ray's hand on her back. Marriott San Diego. Room 314. Timestamped. She dropped the envelope on the table like it burned her. "You've been spying on me," she snapped. Her voice was rising, but her eyes were full of panic. "No," I said calmly. "I've been watching the truth. You just happened to be part of it." She looked around, suddenly aware we were in public. She leaned in, whispering harshly, "You can't do this to me. I can explain." "Don't," I said. "Don't insult me with a story you practiced with him." She swallowed. I continued, "This isn't a fight. This is documentation. Everything's filed. You've already lost access to our accounts. Your employer has the photos. Ray's past is coming up in court. I'm just here to let you know it's over." She looked like she'd been shot. No tears, no screaming, just silence. And then she said the one thing that made me almost laugh. "You said you loved me." I looked her dead in the eyes. "I did. That man would have done anything for you. But you didn't love him back." I stood, left 100 on the table, and walked out. Didn't wait for dessert. Didn't look back. Vanessa didn't follow. She knew there was nothing left to chase. Because the life she built, on lies, manipulation, and someone else's loyalty, was finally collapsing, and I was already gone. The week after the dinner, it was quiet, almost too quiet. Vanessa didn't come home that night. I expected that. She sent one text the next morning. "You didn't have to destroy everything." I didn't reply, because she still didn't get it. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting what was never real. Monday morning, Ben called. "It's done. The judge granted everything. Fraud claim stuck. You're clear." In one move, I'd locked down my pension, the house, every cent she thought she could siphon away quietly. She walked away with nothing.
No alimony.
No split. Just her name, now tied to a court record that'll follow her for years. Her employer? Gone. They terminated her the same day the photos hit their inbox. And Ray? Oh, Ray got his moment too. Remember that widow he conned? I found her, put her in touch with my PI, paid for the legal consult. She had screenshots, bank transfers, messages, everything. 3 weeks later, a formal complaint was filed with law enforcement. Not civil this time. Criminal. Ray tried to ghost. Deleted his accounts. Burned his phone. Too late. The story hit local news when the widow's lawyer leaked it to pressure prosecutors. Headline: Private security contractor investigated for financial exploitation. Vanessa's name wasn't in the article, but people put the puzzle together. Fast. Her family blocked her. Mutual friends stopped calling. She moved out of state a month later. Alone. Quiet. She didn't disappear. She just became invisible. As for me, I kept the house, painted the bedroom walls, bought a new mattress, burned the old one in the backyard. I still wake up early, still drink my coffee black, still sit on the porch most mornings, watching the sun rise over the fence she used to complain about. But it feels different now. Not because I'm bitter, not because I'm broken, because for the first time in a long time, I see everything clearly. She thought I was too old to notice, too soft to fight back, too loyal to leave. She was wrong on all three. I didn't get revenge. I got freedom. And in the end, that's all I ever needed. What would you have done if you were in his shoes? Did he go too far or not far enough? Backhand index pointing down, let us know in the comments. And remember, on this channel, the truth always comes out. Subscribe for more real stories. Thank you for watching.